What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin, and where the wall fights start.
Round one.
We got an amazing show for you here today. I think. Okay, let me see if I'm doing this correctly because apparently I'm sharing the wrong things here on Discord. I'm doing this wrong. I have no idea what I'm doing here. But if you're joining us, please join us live on Discord. I'm taking calls on Discord too as well. I'm trying to figure this all out here right now, but bear with me for a second, guys. How you guys doing today? Let me know where you're tuning in from as you're joining the live stream. As I figure this new little process here out, probably doing something wrong. I know I am, but uh I haven't quite figured everything out yet. Let's see. Let's see if this works the way it works. I'm not too sure I'm doing it right. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna let it run over here for now because I'm not too sure how this is working. All right. All right, it's my first time trying this. So I'm gonna try it like this. See how it goes today. All right. All right, let's just adjust my camera. Let me set up my settings and then we're gonna get right into it. Bring you today's boxing news. Shit. Gervonta Davis, he dodged the bullet. He dodged the bullet, but we're gonna talk about it. Here, let me set this up first. All right. All right, well, let's see here. I had some uh let's see. All right. So Gervonta Davis recently in Maryland court, they just made a ruling on Gervonta Davis's uh financial situations, right? Uh let's see here, right? WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis was recently involved in a legal battle with former manager Wayne Roy and creditor Kevin Batiste. Back in October 2013, Davis signed a 5-year agreement with Roy, agreeing that the manager will receive 15% of all fights earnings. However, by February 2024, Davis and the pair would agree to end their working relationship. Now that was in 2024. So he had apparently these guys were like managers of Tank Davis's career, right? And in that time, Tank Davis had signed a 5-year deal with them, and he had told them, "I'll give you 15% of of my what everything I receive." Right. So and then um this goes to show you that in the sports world or in anything, before you sign a contract, know what you're signing and also respect contracts. These are this what happened to Tank Davis should be a lesson to like young boxers coming up. What could happen if you try to brush things off, right? All right. Uh a release agreement was reached where Davis had to pay Roy and Batista 35,000 over the next 2 years. However, in 2017, they filed a case against Tank Davis claiming they were only paid $2,000, where Davis failed to show up in court. This is very important because he was ordered only to pay $35,000 through the course of 2 years, 35 G's, right? They filed another case against Tank Davis and they told the judge, yo, he only paid us $2,000. That's all Gervonta Tank Davis has paid us. So when the judge ordered Gervonta Davis to go to court, guess what he chose to do? Not show up, right? Okay. So the judge, it says he was ordered to pay $2,000. He failed to show up in court. The judge extended the default order against him, finding him in breach of contract. I don't know, man. Check this out. This gets better. This gets better. The story gets better, right? Because when the judge ordered in the favor of Batista and Roy, right? Because Tank Davis decided I ain't gonna go to court. I ain't paying him $35,000. Well, that turned into $468,000 because the judge sided with them, right? Davis eventually would pay Roy and Batista $468,000 to settle the case. However, Roy and Batista never recorded the judgment, satisfied, and didn't inform the courts of any agreements. They didn't tell the courts that Gervonta Davis paid him $468,000, and they didn't report the case satisfied, meaning that the case can be ongoing, meaning they can still charge Gervonta Davis 15% for all his fights, right? Okay. And that's just the boxing promoters getting greedy, right? And trying to get more money out of Gervonta Davis. You see, had Gervonta just paid this $35,000, he'd have got rid of these dudes. He'd have got rid of them for the low. By letting these dudes hang around, not only did they get that $35,000 out of you, they got $468,000 out of you. Then they try to get you for more money. Now tack on the lawyer fees that Gervonta paid his lawyers to show up in court with him to handle this. How many times did he have to appear in court for this? How long did this drag out for? You see? So in the end, they try to sue Gervonta Davis for more money, and the Maryland court sided with Gervonta Davis. They sided and they said that the $468,000 was sufficient and that the matter was resolved, and that there had been a judgment and it was paid. So the judge ordered it satisfied, and that Gervonta had no obligation to pay them any more money, and that he was free of the lawsuit. And this goes to show you where that you get a letter in the mail or a summons to court because someone's suing you. You decide, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And these are the penalties to these kind of things. And Gervonta turned 35,000 into almost a $500,000 plus your lawyer fees and whatever fees were taxed on. And he this should stand for a lesson for like uh a lot of young boxers out there. Before you sign a contract, you got to read the fine print on the contracts and shit. And before you embark on like 5-year deals, or and you've been ordered to pay them $35,000. They took you to court in the first place, and you had to pay them that money. Then out of that, you only give them $2,000. Like Gervonta Davis is supposed to be in the millions of dollars, and that shouldn't have been nothing, but he turned that into something else. So now Gervonta Tank Davis, I think it was yesterday, the Maryland court sided with him, so he no longer is doing any business with that past management. So now it clears your mind up, because some of these things could be going on in the back of your mind. Man, am I gonna have to pay them more money now? Look how far, uh, him trying to like ignore this. Look how big this came out. And these guys were able to squeeze Gervonta Davis for some money. You know, um, so now he's gonna be fighting Lamont Roach, and when you're going into one of your biggest fights, I wouldn't say the biggest opponent stylistically, or you know, I just think that uh Lamont Roach did a lot of good work in there versus Gervonta Tank Davis. We've discussed this. I've talked about it. They used to be sparring partners. Lamont is familiar with Tank. He knows how he moves, what he was gonna do before he did it. uh Tank is the same fighter standing in front of him. Although Tank Davis went and took another coach leading into the Lamar Roach fight, and I think that was Tank Davis's way of thinking he could change his style, and Lamont would see a different version of Tank. But as soon as Lamont Roach and Tank Davis the action started heating up, Gervonta Davis went right back to the old fighter, the fighter that Lamont Roach is familiar with, the fighter that he sparred against. And I think that's why Lamont Roach had a lot of success. I think that Gervonta Davis and a lot of these fighters have a lot of outside distractions leading into a lot of these fights. And as we all know, in gyms all over the world, none of us are 100% when we enter the ring. Very, very few guys get to that ring like 95, 99% like healthy, you know, nothing going wrong. And it's nothing like having one of those nights where your body's not responding and you feel like you're in quicksand, and it's just that particular fight. Yeah, you know, I, you know, anyway, I was going to tell you about a dream I had last night, which just remind me of that. But Gervonta Davis really like, uh, he needs to start fighting for legacy. He really does. Gervonta right now, he's under heavy scrutiny. His career, he's all over social media. making these videos. You've seen him, right? And I don't know what to think, because for a loyal supporter of Tank Davis for many, many years, myself, I like Tank Davis. Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal athlete, a great boxer. I think that, all criticism aside, and saying who did he fight and who's his best champion. No, Gervonta Davis got in the ring with all those guys, and they all had an opportunity of beating him, you know. And they didn't, So, I give Gervonta credit for the shows that he put on, the knockouts, the violence, and stuff like that. But now it's time for him to start for fighting for some of these legacies and some of the bigger names in the sport that the sport has to offer. I just don't want him to skate by in his career and have not really fought the who's. It looks like the 135-pound weight division right now is it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. There's nobody there, and this is where everything starts to heat up. Where is your fight, Gervonta Davis? Where's your cash cow fight right now, Gervonta? Who's the big fight for you? Shakur Stevenson? Nah, not so much. Loma? I think that's too late. We'll like to see it, but it'll get heavy scrutiny, and I really don't think you're gonna sell that well with him, right? Loma's got a big following, good big name, Tank. I think it'll be a good turnout. They'll make a decent coin. Yeah, it's Tank Davis and Loma, but not that super mega fight. Who's left? Who's there for Tank Davis to have an ultimate showdown? Like where the little guys can make like fucking close to some Saul money, some real millions. Who is it? There's only one guy that comes to mind. There's only one guy, and that's that Japanese dude, Naoya Inoue. Everybody knows it. Everybody even talks about it. Shit, I can't get more than a few comments without somebody popping in saying Tank Davis's name in an Naoya Inoue conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do it now, vice versa. You start talking to Tank Davis, all of a sudden someone's gonna say, "Hey Tank, what about Inoue?" You guys heard it. You heard the whispers through the boxing halls. Your imagination and your curiosity sparked up. You thought about it. You sat there and you thought all about the ins and outs of the possibilities, the what ifs. The what if King Kong and Godzilla actually met in a Titan showdown? Two giants of the sport. Tank Davis is that dude. Naoya Inoue is that dude for these guys. And I can't think of a bigger match. Now, could it happen? Yeah. Yeah, it could. It could happen. You know why it could happen? Money. Money moves mountains. If Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford can fight that kind of fight, Naoya Inoue can jump up. But also in this fight, Tank's gonna have to give a little. Tank's gonna have to move down a little bit from 135. You're gonna have to get uncomfortable, buddy. You're gonna have to actually train. He's 5'5". He shaved some pounds. Tank Davis can get down there. I'm thinking, shit, if Tank could squeeze 5 pounds and get down to 130, just dehydrate and get yourself down. Tank started his career as a 130. I always felt that Tank Davis was a true 130 pounder. He never belonged at 135 or 140 for me. Where Tank should have been unified, undisputed world champion of the world, should have been 130 pounds. I still think Tank Davis can make 130 today. He's at 135. That's 5 pounds, bro. 5 pounds. So if Tank Davis can get down to 130, Naoya Inoue can make 130. You see that he was at entering the ring, he was like what? 142, 138. When Naoya, I forgot what it was when he actually officially entered the ring against Roman Cardenas. Now let's say that Naoya Inoue takes care of business. He defends the belts as many times as he wants. He travels up to 126 and acquires one belt. I'm not gonna have to put him in the equation where he has to do so much. Naoya Inoue. No, he doesn't. All he needs is one belt. At 126, that is a done deal. He's an official 5 division world champion. That's done. Right? Okay. Whether or not Tank Davis has a belt at 130 pounds or whatever, uh, they can fight for the vacant belt. One of them boys can vacate their belt, move up, pay him to move up, vacate that belt right there for us, and allow them to fight. Or Gervonta Davis or Naoya Inoue, either or, can move up and obtain a belt, get a belt. You get the belt, and then I don't know. I don't know who gets a belt or what situation you could find it. It could be at a catch weight. It might not be at 130. It might be at 132 or something for Gervonta. I don't know. But I know that the fight is doable. It's a lot more doable than Bam Bam Rodriguez, right? Um, it's even along the lines where that uh Junto Nakatoni is willing to make the jump to 126 to meet him there. You know what I'm saying? That's bypassing one weight division. That's a big weight jump. It is the same thing we would be asking Naoya Inoue to do to meet Tank. It's one jump in that. Same thing Junto would be doing. And Bam's and Tank Davis got to come down a little. That's the biggest fight right there. As long as Tank Davis stays undefeated and Naoya Inoue does his part, at the end of their careers, right at the tail end, right there, they're roughly around the same age. I think Inoue might be 2 years older, 2 years elder than Tank, right? But they're right there. By that time, Naoya Inoue would already complete what I feel would be the bulk of his legacy. And at that point, maybe he might not feel like this. He's accomplished everything and more he wanted to accomplish in the sport of boxing. Now let me grab this super fight for like buku dollars. And him and Gervonta Davis can meet up. That's the fight to be made in the future. I say 2.5 years, 3 years, 3 more years, maybe 2.5, depending how Gervonta's talking about retirement and shit. But they're all talking about retirement. Don't you see that we're slowly edging towards that era where that these guys are going to start leaving the sport. I think Terrence Crawford, win, lose, or draw, that's his last fight. He'll be 38 years old. Usyk's 38 years old. He's fighting Dubois. How much longer do we got Usyk for? Right? And Saul, 35. It's crazy because Saul's been around longer than all of them, and he's younger. He's Saul Canelo Alvarez. I said it the other day. I got a short. He's truly the last of the Mohegans. He's the last of the dying breed right there. That's what we're witnessing in Saul Canelo Alvarez we will probably never witness that again. A guy with 63 professional fights, and he's still tacking on fights. So when it's all said and done, he'll probably have like 65, 66 professional fights. We'll never see that again. Nah. Now with these guys, these kids, bro, Agmedalia got what? All of 13 fights, and they're saying that he's the greatest thing since sliced. Get the. How many fights Ryan Garcia got? How many fights does Terrence Crawford have? He's the best. What he's got? 41 fights, 42 fights, 40. What he got? Come on, man. Like, I truly believe that era is done. That era is done with. Emilio Vargas is mad active, right? And you could see his record slowly going up. Emilio Vargas and shit. That dude is fighting like 3, 4, 5, times and shit a year and stuff. When you're young, you can do that, I guess, right? But nah, I really believe that uh Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue can meet up. I think they can meet up. That would be such a mega showdown, bro. That fight right there, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I lose my mind. I'd have to go to that fight right there. I have to. Wherever it was, if it was on the moon, I'm getting there because that would be a fight that's a fight for the ages. That both these guys, as skilled as both these guys truly are, one of them is gonna have to lose. They're gonna be putting their O's on the line. One's gonna go. Somebody's O gotta go. There's gotta be a winner, and somebody's gonna walk away with everything. So, you know, see, the problem is 135-pound Tank Davis still carries his power. He's a strong puncher. 140-pound Tank Davis is a strong puncher. He knocked out Mario Barrios when Mario Barrios was all like a fucking 19, 20 years old. I remember somewhere around there. He was real young. Mario Barrios still had a kid baby face when he fought Tank Davis. He was an undefeated fighter. The problem with this situation, bringing Tank Davis back down, when you take weight off of yourself, your power does go down. It doesn't always travel backwards with you. The success in your power sometimes is if see, you ever hear that phrase, you're too light in your ass? You know what I'm saying? You're just too light. And some people know how to throw a punch with snap, and good form, right? And they can generate power and speed that way, right? And I get it. Trained athletes know how to deliver a punch. So small guys can crack too. But when you take off weight, um, that's where I think uh Tank and Naoya is gonna be even. Naoya would be going up again, right? And he's not looking the fastest of late. It seems like he's not going the speed approach like he did at 118. What his approach now is a more get right to it approach. There's a lot of things that Naoya Inoue has shaved off in his career, and I've watched him. I've watched him throughout his career. I remember when he was really technical and he didn't give you a lot on defense. He was stingy with the defense. He was on the bounces of his toes, and he was typically just picking the person apart, making it like a bee, just kept stinging him, bing, 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 and they couldn't get to him. And then after a while, watching him fight, somewhere I can't say exactly the fight, but it's been like 3, 4, 5 fights back that he he took away the process to breaking down the guy, and with just very little few punches, he was already going forward for the attack. I noticed that. I noticed that he started to skip steps and trying to knock these guys out faster. And I think that was deep in part of a lot of criticism because people were like, why did Marlon Tapales last so long? Why they took you to 8 rounds to knock out Fulton if you had him like this and et cetera, et cetera. And then and I'm baffled by that, right? Because sometimes fighters can lose to a person, go on fight someone else, and a different story can unfold right before your eyes. I'm not sure if you guys watched it or what you thought of the fight. But when I saw TJ Doheny fight Nick Ball, had it been not for TJ Doheny's back to give out to get him in the fight, he just couldn't continue, right? I think he probably would beat Nick Ball. If he makes it to the end of that fight, we might have been seeing and the new. That's how I felt about that fight. Nick Ball wasn't doing shit in that ring against TJ Doheny. He was missing big. He couldn't catch up to him. In fact, when I saw them standing next to each other, I was like, damn, look how big TJ Doheny looks to this dude. Right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, but when he was in the ring with Naoya in a way, TJ Doheny didn't look that big to Naoya in a way anyway, right? And I was a little taken back by how small Nick Ball it truly is. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute, bro. Uh Sometimes I fly back and forth with the difficulty that is Nick Ball, right? Think about it, guys, right? What's a skilled fighter's kryptonite? A hooker, a guy that can take shots and keep swinging upstairs, coming over your shots. Because in order for you to extend, you're gonna be vulnerable. The hook shots or the shots to the taller man is what has taken down many, many, many skilled fighters. Nick Ball possesses that. Nick Ball has become a world champion, and the legend of Nick Ball, that's where he built it off those hook shot punches. Now, I mean, it's also something I would have to see. Listen, for God's sake, there's no way you can tell me that I don't think that Nick Ball can. I mean, Naoya Inoue can't catch Nick Ball in a dead space in a small window of opportunity. That's where Naoya Inoue made the legend of Naoya Inoue knocking guys out like that. There was a Thai nationalist fighter that fought Naoya Inoue, short, compact little dude, right? He came out and he tried that bully pressure fight against Naoya. Naoya was 19 years old at this time. He was a baby. He still had black hair. He wasn't dyeing his hair. I think it was like his second professional fight, in fact, right? Somewhere around there. It was either his second or third, somewhere in there. He fought the Thai nationalist. Bro, this dude came in just like Nick Ball, swinging wild. Go watch that shit. Yo, I think that man is still knocked out today till today. Nail anyway did his entire he's still knocked out in the same ring. Yo, he put him out. And Nick Ball swings like that guy. He swings big. Marlon Tapales has an awkward style about him. That's why Neil Inoue kept resetting. And I think that him coming out, showing him different looks, it's what kind of like held him back from attacking him so early. He was figuring him out until he realized, bro, you're just bullshitting. You're just improvising. And Ilya started to pick him apart. So, but with Nick Ball's, uh, style, it can present challenges for even the greatest of fighters. Navarrete has made a career on that. A lot of people thought that he was going to be Valdez, and it just didn't happen. That wasn't the case or the outcome. The more wild pressure fighter was the one that was victorious. So this, you know, uh, watching Nick Ball fare up against TJ Doheny was bad for me. That was a bad sign for Nick Ball. It didn't give me any confidence that as soon as I saw his performance, I said, wait a minute, that's it. Nick Ball's going to beat Naoya Inoue. Look at that style right there. Yep, that's the one. No, I didn't come away from that fight thinking, when I saw Nick Ball fight TJ, what I came away from the fight was, you're done. You might as well just put that belt in that box and mail it to him. Shine it, spit shine it too before you mail it. You can't fight Naoya Inoue like that, Nick Ball. And I'm not like, just trust me. I hopefully, I think you would come out a different way. The odds of Nick Ball fighting a different way, uh, 0 to none. He's gone too far in his career like this. You're not going to be able to change him. You got to work with what he is. That's it. So, um, I don't know. I don't know. But now you got boxers like Espinoza, you got Angela Leo that are willing to fight Naoya Inoue. Angela Leo scares me the most out of Espinoza and Angela Leo. Reason being, right? You would think that I would go the other way because Espinoza is the tallest 126-pounder the world has ever seen. I don't think that wins him the fight. Nah. I think Naoya Inoue can slip punches fairly well. I think his first step is crazy. The way he's upon his fighters, Espinoza, he can cover up. He's got long arms, long forearms. I was checking him out in Vegas, and I was saying, yeah, he can cover up his body, but he's gonna have to exchange. In order to throw the punch, you're gonna you're gonna have to leave your body. I mean, you could be a bit defensively sound, turn your body, snap the jab, fight long, block that little body shot down low, don't fall for his feints, and he could stay fairly tall, Espinoza, and try to fight Naoya Inoue on the outside. The problem with that all tall fighters that fought the Inoue, he moves around their jab. Then they're left with him in mid range or on the inside. Either area, Naoya Inoue is highly skilled in. And the thing with Espinoza, he needs a little space. He needs a space because his arms are too long. He does mix it up on the inside, but those shots are slow. He he's not gonna want to do that little wound up uppercut he be hitting these dudes with against Naoya Inoue. I wouldn't advise that. His wind up's too big. By time he winds up his hand like that to go like that, I think Naoya Inoue will whip his body. The one thing about Naoya Inoue that I truly highlight and I talk about all the time is that he's constantly shaving fat off of his fighting style. He's getting to the point a lot faster, but there's a lot more risk fighting that way. When he fought um Jamie Maloney, right, in Las Vegas there, right? When Jason Maloney went to get a reaction out of Naoya Inoue, what he did is what he's taught to do in the boxing gym. It would have been the same thing I would have did. Okay, I would have fell for this. I probably would have been knocked out next to Jason Maloney on that night, right? Because I was gonna fall for. This is what he did. Jason Maloney threw the jab, right, and then he went to double up on the jab. By the time he pump faked the jab, the Japanese dude was already right here in front of him. He had hit him with the second one. Bow! You could see the spit fly out of Naoya Inoue's mouth. He took the shot and he traded it for a left hook. Boop! And he sat him down. Right? Those are the things I talk about with Naoya Inoue. He's going to give you an opportunity and he's getting right to the target. And by doing so, there's going to be consequences. He'll take the shot to give his own shot. Then in the second sequence where he got brutally knocked out, right? What he did was prior to getting knocked out in that same round where the announcers, Tim Bradley and the other guys started saying Naoya Inoue was taking off the round. In fact, what happened was Jason Maloney threw the punch at Naoya Inoue's guard. Naoya Inoue guard, he went like that. He took the punch and he was able to throw his right. What Naoya Inoue did was he stood there. He allowed Jason Maloney to convince Jason Maloney that when you threw the jab and you threw the other punch, that I was still here blocking it like this. He didn't get the reaction out of Naoya Inoue, right? He shelled up. So in the end, when Jason Maloney went to sit down on his punch, what he needed was that reaction out of Naoya Inoue. So what he was going to do this time was don't follow through with your jab. What you're going to do is you're going to feint it. You're going to get the same reaction without touching him. Meaning, last time you actually punched his guard and he guarded up. But when he went like this to go like that, that's when you threw your right hand, right? Okay. Typical setting up a shot you work on with your coach, right? So he tried it. First sequence, boom, boom, he stood there. Ba, 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 ba. A little bit of sequence goes on, little bit. They keep fighting, they keep fighting. And all of a sudden, Maloney starts going back to the rope. Naoya Inoue stepping to him. Maloney steps back, remembers what he did, and he goes, okay, Naoya, try this on for size. He went, shoot, like this. It didn't move. When he was going to set up the right hand, that he sat down on the right hand, because what he wanted to do was hit Naoya big. But he couldn't sit down on it if he extended with this hand. So he wanted to feint, boom, right? Naoya Inoue stood in front of him like a statue, like this. He feinted. He never went like this. He went, boom. Maloney walked right into the shot. Bam! Yo, I was like, what the fuck was that? It was so slick. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, damn, you could teach an old dog new tricks. I've been in a lot of fights. I've seen a lot of fighters. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of fighters make reads, smart reads, slick uppercuts, have their guy figured out. This was a bit different. That was, and the thing is, Naoya Inoue was setting that punch up like through the fight. He hit Maloney with that same shot like 3 times. But Naoya didn't put that kind of power behind it. He hit Maloney with a shot, and Maloney wobbled. I remember he wobbled, but he took the punch pretty well. The next time that sequence occurred in the match, see, that's what I speak of about good fighters, great fighters, and elite fighters, right? Good fighter have you figured out 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds. He'll have you figure out. A great one will have you figured out between 4, 5, and 6. An elite fighter will have you figured out in the moment. Right there. You fuck up right there in front of them, you might be going to sleep. Because they're aware of these little freaking things that it takes most fighters years to develop. And for some fighters, they can just see these openings and they're small, because you're taught, I don't want to get punched by this guy's punch. How the hell did he know in that moment he wasn't actually going to extend that punch? How did he know that he was going to fake it and that he was going to sit down and try to throw big? If the last sequence, he threw the jab and he followed through. This was a feint for that I can, he read that like a book. It was so beautiful. In fact, they gave Naoya Inoue, I think, knockout of the year for that knockout. Nobody did anything slicker than that. It was crazy. He sat him down. Now, and Junto got the knockout of the year for knocking out the other twin, the other one. But the one that Naoya Inoue knocked out was the big twin. He was the one that was born first. Naoya Inoue knocked out the big twin, and Junto knocked out, that's like Jamel and Jamal. It's like that. Saul Canelo Alvarez fought the little twin. He didn't fight the big twin. You understand? Naoya Inoue fought the big twin, and he fought the smaller twin in a smaller weight division because he fought Andrew Maloney and knocked him out, I think, at, what was it, at 118, right? He knocked him out at 118 or 115. What was it? Don't make me look this up, guys, because I have to look this shit up. But, yeah. Hold up, guys. I've been watching this Discord thing, and I haven't even been up on my my thing yet. All right, there I am. What's up, guys? There you guys are. There's the chats. They didn't put them up. None of the chats came up in the stream. There you guys are. What's up, guys? What's up, Jesus Christ? I got into this argument with a white. First of all, let me answer your questions, Jesus, right? Yo, Chicago Killer, let's go, baby. How you doing? Yo, first of all, I don't know about these dudes in the barbershop being like uh starstruck or fucking and taken back by Tank's power. Like, like, hold up. I got this shit of the sound going off in the back. What the hell am I doing? I just heard it in the headphones. Let me take that off. First of all, right, for them to turn around and say that Tank Davis is just gonna left check hook Naoya Inoue and knock him the fuck out, on the what proof do you have on that? What proof do you have that he's just gonna punch Naoya Inoue one time with a left check hook and knock him out? Okay, here's my proof that that's gonna be that's gonna be easier said than done. Why? Tell me, did Gervonta Davis knock out Lamont Roach, a 130 pounder? Why don't you take that to the bank? Why don't you cash on that you just didn't knock out a guy that was smaller that got moved up and you couldn't put your hands on him to knock him out? Just because you knocked out Frank the Ghost Martin and Mario Barrio up there, didn't tell me that you couldn't knock out a smaller dude. In fact, all the smaller dudes that Tank Davis fought couldn't knock him out. Lamont Roach, Esau Pitbull Cruz. What do you got problems with shorter dudes? And if that's the case, Tank Davis is your height, then you got problems, Tank Davis. Because you can't show me you've knocked out any little dude. Any of them. You be knocking out these tall dudes because you can get underneath them. And you get underneath their shots. But it seems like whenever you fight somebody your own height, you're not trained to fight somebody your own height. So how the hell those guys going to be talking to you, Jesus, talking about he going to knock out fucking who? Who? You ain't beat nobody like that, Tank. You're going to have a problem with him. You're going to have a big problem with Naoya anyway. And knock him out. Bro, Naoya anyway got an iron chin. That man got hit with some big bombs. No Bambi legs. Yo, stun punch knockouts. All they was flash knockdowns. Both of them. Did he look wobble? Did he look hurt? Then it was a flash knockdown. Both of them. He got caught good. And if you go back in the Roman Cardin, Naoya Inoue was coming. He overstepped, which he never does, right? Which speaks to him being in the moment and wanting to look for the knockout. He was doing stuff he typically doesn't do. When Roman Cardin caught him, he caught Naoya Inoue overstepping. Both his feet were like that. No balance. He got hit. He went down. Just like that. I bet you Tank Davis get hit like that with his feet like that. He's going to go, oh, a 130-pounder wobbled him? Wobbled him. You mean Lamont Roach wobbled Tank Davis? That Lamont Roach is not a big puncher. He's not a knockout artist. And you couldn't put him down. And you went 12 rounds. And most people think he won the fight. Name me a situation like that Naoya Inoue's ever been in his career. I'll wait. I'll be right here. When did we ever think that Naoya Inoue was losing in the fight? What controversy fight has Naoya Inoue ever been in that you said he lost that fight? In the fight with Mario Barrio, Tank Davis was down in the scorecard. In several of Tank Davis fights, he was down in the scorecards. At some point in Tank Davis fights, the other guy's winning. In Naoya Inoue's career, he's might have lost 10, 11 rounds in his entire career. There has never been a fight Naoya Inoue's been in that he had to come from behind. He's never been down on the scorecards. And not one of his fights. He's been dominant all competition, all world-class competition, Hall of Fame competition, all 4 belts in 2 separate weight division competition, chasing down champion by champion competition. What's Tank done? I'll be right here. Right here. Round 1 Sports Talk. Right here. He's right there. Right here. Only facts. And if you want to get crazy, we can throw their records on the screen. Because I can do that. Where the fuck does anybody tell you that Tank Davis is just going to knock with his braids? With the grease? I hope he don't get his hair done 2 days ago. I don't want to hear no excuses with Naoya Inoue. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Naoya Inoue knows how to nullify power. He nullified Luis Pantera's power, and he also nullified Roman Cardine's power. Did he get hit with those shots ever again in the fight? Nope. If you take away Tank's power, you take away Naoya Inoue's power, and they don't do nothing stupid where they're getting hit big, what are you guys left with? Their skill. So if you ask me, if I had to see two fighters being cautious, not really slugging it off on the inside with the power, who's better skilled? Tank Davis or Naoya Inoue? Who has the better arsenal of punches? And who's always throwing the same set of punches? Whose footwork is better? Whose distant management is better? Who lives off a more volume of ways of knocking you out rather than just an uppercut? It's funny he says Tank Davis is going to hit him with a left check hook and knock him out, right? What fighter did he hit with a left check hook and knock out Tank Davis? He hit Ryan with a body shot. He hit Mario Barrio with an overhand left. He jumped off his feet. He hit Frank the Ghost Martin with an uppercut, and then he hit him with a straight shot, knocked him out. He hit Angelo Leo with an uppercut. The uppercut heard across the world. He hit Ryan Rowley with a falling back fadeaway check hook that Rowley walked into. It was more like an extended one. It was like out like that, evading kind of thing. It wasn't like your traditional check hook. Like Nonito Donaire has a monster check hook. Subriel Matias. Well, no, sorry. I got Subriel mixed up with Felix Trinidad. They kind of look alike, right? Felix Trinidad has one of the most legendary check hooks. It's just so smooth. His check hook gotta be fucking one of the greatest. Sugar Ray Robinson had a monster one. He had a monster left check hook. I love that check hook too. Real guys that throw it with slick power. Randy, Julius Jackson had a monster check hook. Julius Jackson would snap that shit off the side of your head. You out. Yo, like those guys, those are real, like check left, like, like real check hook guys that step in, pop like that. Gervonta doesn't take me like that. He's not, he's got power in both hands, Gervonta. I think he's a hell of a talent, but it's hard to judge Gervonta's true potential talent because in one hand, I say to myself, is Gervonta Davis that talent that was very protected? Because he was that guy that was in between elite and great. There's like this gray area. And until they go up against real competition, do they get exposed? Like Julian the Hawk Jackson. He was a big puncher, big knockout artist, heavily favored in fights. He won the belt, but he immediately lost it. And then loses the rematch and gets knocked out. And then later goes on and become a champion again and then loses it again. Or I think he was fighting in the title fight. against this dude and lost. Like, that's when the world found out that you were great. You could knock a lot of people out. You knock out 90% of everybody in the division. The last 10% are champion worthy material guys, and they don't get over that hump. And what if Tank Davis this whole time was him, that kind of fighter, but they never tested him? No real tough world champion pedigree fights with Tank. So although he's doing the Julian Jackson, knocking all these guys out. But what happens when you put him in with guys on his level? What's going to happen? And that I don't have an answer for you. But I do know that Naoya Inoue has fought nothing but the top guys his entire career. Everybody that was a champion, number 1 or number 2, he was fighting you. Had it not been for, the Sam Goodman, which was the number 1 ranked, not in 1, but 2 sanctioning bodies, right? That backed out into Yi Young Kim, he would have never fought him. Same Sam Goodman entered TJ Doheny, he should have never been there. Those were, that was up to circumstance. It was a chain of events caused them to fight. It wasn't a schedule, wasn't I picked them, none of that shit. It was now, oh, I'm talking shit, Sam Goodman, and he backs out on you. What do? You look for somebody on. The show must go on, right? But if you exclude those right there, Luis Pantera Nari was the WBC number 1. Marlon Tapales was a unified, and Stephen Kubo Fulton was a unified. And so it's like all his competition as this weight division. If you want to talk about the other weight divisions, it's just the same story. Trust me when I tell you, it's just the same story. He's just fighting champions and the top guys throughout. So it's this situation where these guys and unfamiliar names are sliding in into the common fan that doesn't really follow him. They're going to go, who the hell is TJ Doheny? Who the hell is Yi Young Kim? Why, if he's so tough and so great, why is he fighting? They don't know the history. Why we got there. How did they get in the ring with a man like that? You understand? You have to know your history of what occurred. And Tank Davis is strong. I'm going to give Tank Davis his pressure. Tank Davis is not slow. He has a decent jab. He doesn't convince me with his footwork. But the one good thing that Tank Davis does have is that burst. That scares me with Naoya Inoue. That burst scares me. The one thing that Naoya Inoue will do, if you get the opportunity, a lot of fighters don't do it to him. But I've seen it happen. I've seen where a guy burst at Naoya Inoue, and what he did was shell up, right? To avoid the punch, obviously. But he does it like this, like that, right? And you saw that every time he was going in the high guard against Roman Cardenas, he was able to slip back and hit Naoya Inoue big in the body. You guys saw that? When Naoya Inoue gassed, he went, yo, he felt that shot. And I was like, oh shit, he got hit big. And Roman Cardenas, man, he had his moments. He exposed Naoya Inoue for not being patient in that fight. He exposed Naoya Inoue's desire to be anxious. He knew Naoya was trying to rip his head off. He got calm, weathered the storm a little, and found his moment. He knew his moment was gonna be there. You know, he anticipated Naoya Inoue was gonna try to finish him early. That he felt like Naoya Inoue felt like you shouldn't be in the ring with me. You don't belong here. So I'm gonna take you out fast. He kind of underestimated Roman Cardenas. I got to tell the truth. That's exactly what I saw. Because Naoya Inoue did shit he don't be doing in fights. He's a lot smarter than that. He had to underestimate you. He had to. And I'm glad it happened. I'm glad he got knocked out. Because Naoya Inoue is the type of fighter, he's going to go back to the lab. He's going to correct that. You guys are just making him better. That's all you're doing. You think that these knockdowns and stuff discourage a man like that? Bro, how so? Where's your proof? You know where my proof is? My proof is when he got knocked down, he went right at the guy. It didn't show me that he was discouraged, afraid, wanting a way out. No, I have proof for what I'm talking about. When he got knocked down both times, the fuck am I doing? Did you just knock me? Finish him. Finish him. Bro, there's my proof. So if he gets caught big in a fight, you better not do what Daniel Dubois did, hit Usyk in the stomach, cheer, and let the fight come out of him that he got so fatigued, it went down. Ain't gonna be none of that. Naoya Inoue is alert until the bell goes bing. Yep. I'll put him up against these dudes, bro. I wouldn't be afraid to put him up against Tank. I really won't. Because there's a lot of things. Fuck it, I'll just say it. I like to hold back sometime when I tell Naoya Inoue's story, especially against some of the fighters, because I know somebody's going to say something, right? And I'm just going to come out and let them know what's up, right? But I got so much that I'll talk about this too. You need to take this into consideration. Tank's a slow starter. Tank's a very slow starter. How many rounds did he give to Frank the Ghost Martin before he woke up? How many rounds did he give away to Mario Barrio? That the announcers were saying, how many rounds is Tank Davis going to give away before he hits Mario Barrio? What were we in, the fourth, fifth round? How many rounds did he give away to all these fighters? If you haven't noticed, Tank's a very slow starter. And he has been for quite some time. He likes to take information, pop, just pressure going forward, block up, and take his opponent's punches. That's a recipe for disaster against Naoya Inoue. I would never want to speak about that until like the fight came, because these are things I know it's going to happen. If Tank thinks he can start slow against Naoya Inoue and shell up and to see how powerful the Japanese dude is, you guys know what's going to happen, right? In one of those exchanges, he's going to hit Tank in the forehead like he hits everybody else. Naoya Inoue likes punching dudes right there in the forehead. That's his MO. He punched Marlon Tapales in the forehead, knocked him out. He punched Roman Cardin. You seen the big bruise on his forehead? Jamie McDonald, the European champion, what punch did he knock him out with? A forehead punch, right in the forehead, right there. He punches through their guards. He's gonna punch through Tank Davis. Man, listen. He's gonna punch through his guard, bro, and he's gonna hit Tank Davis, and Tank Davis is gonna go, that kind of hurt. He gonna go, but it wasn't powerful enough to knock me out, right? That's what they all think. They don't know that Naoya Inoue is very skilled when it comes to changing up the cadence in his power. A lot of guys said, "Yo, he didn't hit hard until the lights went out." You really don't feel the knockout punch anyway, by the way. When you get knocked out, you don't feel that punch. That's why they wake up like, he don't hit hard. He don't hit hard. And he got all dirt saying on his face because he's been laying on the face and the saliva's been going down, mixing with the dirt because you've been laying down there for quite some time. And your boys is fucked up because they didn't even get you up and shit. You know what I mean? And your girlfriend got you up and you ready to go. You like, when's the fight gonna start? Nah, baby, you got knocked out. What you mean I got knocked out? You been knocked out. Wipe your side of your face. You got dirt right there. Yeah, it's right there. Right there. Just take that right there. Go like that. Right. You got a little bit more right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't talk shit to him again. Come on, baby. Let's go home. Yo. So that's what they say. They're like, nah, Stevie Kubo Fulton had the nerve. He doesn't hit hard. Did you see that punch? It's because you don't feel it. He done detached you from your senses. He's out, boy. Ask Payano if he hits hard. These guys know that Japanese dude can crack. And he's going to hit Tank. And I think in those moments, Tank is going to try to like shell up like that. The problem is Tank's been hit by bigger guys, way bigger guys than fucking Naoya Inoue, right? That's what I gotta see. Once he hits Tank in the forehead with them shots that them dudes be like, what the fuck is that? Tank's gonna switch up his approach. He's gonna be a little bit more like that, but he's still gonna try to bulldoze Naoya Inoue. I know it. He's still gonna try to walk him down. Tank will throw that left shot over like the check hook to try to bait you to swing into his uppercut. His shot that he tries to set up is that left check hook, but he doesn't really land it. It's not a punch he's looking to knock you out with. That's the punch he's leading you into the uppercut. While you try to evade from that little stupid shot, they walk into the uppercut. Whoop, like that. You know what I mean? Just like Frank the Ghost Martin. When he pop, he walked them down, bro. So I'm not sure if you can do that to Naoya Inoue. I'm not sure. He's not gonna lean into his shot. He's just too smart for that. He makes reads himself. He's just gonna pop, parry, spin, boom, boom. That's what I see happening. I don't think he walks him into it. The other thing that I'm afraid in the fight is the reason why I'm afraid of that little fucking burst. See, Naoya Inoue got the first step. That first step he does is fucking dangerous. He's up on you like this. But Tank's got the burst. He's got like that leaping shot. It's quick, right? And he can use that not to land the punch. The punch is going to be strong. That leaping shot, he's knocked people out with it, right? The punch is going to be strong. That's not the one you want. That's not what you want. What you want is the reaction out of Naoya Inoue. That's what you need. With that burst, he's gonna be up that he's gonna have no choice but to go like that. And in that sequence, if Naoya Inoue, it depends. Is he on the ropes or is he in the middle of the ring? Because that's gonna play a factor. If his back's against the ropes, right? When Tank does that, Japanese fighters don't come out of the high guard good. None of them do. They just don't, bro. They're awkward as hell. Like sliding out, or because you don't want to go backwards like this. What you want to do is bend your knees and step back to get out of that situation. Don't go straight back ever in a straight line. You're going to get knocked out. What you want to do is bend your knees and step back and kind of like slide. That's how you get out of that. But when your back's against the rope, you can't slide out of the ring, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to get Naoya to do that stupid peekaboo style like this, where he did it with Luis Pantera Nari. He did it with he did it with Paul Butler. He did it with he was never on the ropes with Paul Butler, but he was doing it to give him like a lure, a false sense of a sense that Paul Butler can exchange. He was trying to get him to open up. So Naoya had his hands down like that. But if you go back and you look at the time that he got knocked out by Luis Pantera Nari, when Naoya Inoue was being pressured by Luis Pantera Nari, I want you to go take a look at that. There's a sequence where he starts evading with his hands down like this. They don't come out of the high guard. Them Japanese dudes they don't good at all, bro. Not that great. And in that moment, Tank can catch him. That's my biggest fear for Naoya Inoue. I talk about pros and cons for both fighters. I'm not biased for none of these guys. I like one more, and it might seem like I favor one more, but if you stay with me, you'll see that I always bring around their pros and cons. Nobody in this world is unbeatable. Naoya Inoue could fall in any match. It could be the unlikeliest foe. But these are the chances we take. And as far as what Naoya Inoue is doing right now, he's doing his job very well. Very well. I commend him for that. I can only talk about, his accomplishments. We could break down a fantasy fight or situations of what I think. But when it comes to real hardcore facts, I won't bet against him. Not Naoya Inoue. I won't bet against him. No. He's giving me no reason to doubt him. I don't take his knockdowns as a decline in his performances. I don't read into that bullshit. I'm not gonna read into that. What I'm saying is that straight up, you're in a fight, shit will happen. You know what I'm saying? So Steven, he doesn't have the best footwork, Tank. He does not. He does not have the best footwork. Naoya Inoue has way better footwork than Tank. What Tank has is smart feet. There's a difference. You might get that confused, right? Slick footwork, like fighters like Floyd, Shakur Stevenson, Sweepy Pernell Whitaker. Those are real footwork guys. You know what I'm saying? Their footwork will get you in trouble. Just with their feet, they can lure you into a shot. Went this way, that way, up, cut corners, pop. All of a sudden, you're knocked out. He baited you with his feet. Tank can't do that. Tank can't do that. Right? Tank got strong feet and smart feet at times. It seems like he's in the right place sometimes, right? Oddly enough, the way he gets there. Tank's footwork, you know how I describe Tank's footwork? Tank's footwork is like my math test in school. That's exactly the way it is. Teacher walks up, yo, Elwin, The answer is right. But how did you get to the answer? I don't know. She says, where's your scrap piece of paper that you wrote down to get? She says, this shit is wrong. How did you get the right answer? I don't know. But I'm right? Ah, well, you can't say I'm wrong. Whoop, that's Tank's footwork right there. I don't know how he does it sometimes because he, you know, but his athleticism in his legs, his explosiveness when he needs it from his legs, that shit is powerful from Tank. You see when he jumped and knocked out that dude? When he was like in those blue shorts, when Tank was mad young, he didn't have no tattoos. He had like a heart or something on his chest. Yo, he just jumped out with spy, and yo, dude was like, he folded him like a lawn chair. Tank was looked like he was out there for a good distance. Didn't it look like he was out there for, like that? And out of nowhere, he just jumped like whap. He did the same shit to Mario Barrio at 140 pounds. Mario Barrio was going back, like the first 10 seconds in the round. He went like that, set Mario Barrio up. Boop! Mario Barrio, I bet he said to himself, boy, that was fast. He was probably shocked. Mario Barrio, but before he can make adjustments to it, it was too late. Then all of a sudden, Tank Davis right in front, and Mario Bar goes down again for the second time in the round. There was a lot of pressure. He couldn't get his wits about himself. That can be the kind of pressure that can fuck up Naoya Inoue. If he can't, he hits him with a shot like that early enough in the round, and Naoya can't shake it off, Tank's pressure is going to be, I think, might be too much. I'm not sure. That's something I got to see now. That's something I got to see. Naoya Inoue is dangerous when he's hurt. He's proved it. Fucking Luis Pantera Nara was stalking him down. The Japanese, and what did Naoya Inoue do? He was like, he was dealing with Luis Pantera's pressure. He was dealing with it. Slip, pop, check hook down. All right. Little confidence back up. Then he got on his fucking slick shit. Naoya Inoue's on the rope, right? And the shit that I was talking about, he's on the rope like this, slipping Luis Pantera Nari's shots. Although I don't like that, he was skilled enough to pull it off. I wouldn't advise my fighter to do it, but Naoya Inoue is not an average fighter. And when he came out that shit like this, he started, and then he hit him with the uppercut. Boom! Sat him down. Sit down. Don't try to pressure me. The same shit Gervonta Davis could see in Naoya Inoue that he's hurt. Naoya Inoue fights good hurt. He fights good. And I'm going to tell you, he was hurt by that Luis Pantera Nares. Why? Because I got proof. Why? Because when he punched him at the end of the fight, you could see the fucking bruise on his chin, on Naoya Inoue's chin. There's the proof. He got hit big. It was like a flash shot. Boom, he went down. But it was a big punch. And Naoya Inoue, he's got such a stoic face. Like, he's like, right? You can never tell if he's hurt, right? Because all fighters got good poke. Not all of them, but the great ones do, right? And he's back there like this, and he's bobbing and weaving and stuff. And he showed he can fight off the back foot. He can fight off the front foot. He can fight mid-range, outrange, whatever. Naoya Inoue can fight on the moon, on Saturn, on Jupiter, wherever you want him to fight, he'll fight. Underwater, you know what I'm saying? In a phone booth, you know what I mean? In a dark alley. It doesn't matter. The man can fight. So That's why that fight right there is so intriguing and so much. Can Tank Davis knock out Naoya Inoue? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, he can knock him out. Can Naoya Inoue knock out Tank Davis? Hell yeah. Hell yes. Naoya can knock him out, and Tank got the ability to knock him out. They're both highly skilled. I think Naoya Inoue's style's a little bit better, but that little unorthodox style of Tank Davis can give anybody a fucking hard night at the office. The way that Tank Davis might be able to take Naoya Inoue's punches, and it might not be a situation of power or it might be a situation where it would have to be an accumulation of punches throughout both of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Tank Davis is going to be able to sit down on his punches long enough for Naoya Inoue to stand there and allow that to happen. You understand, guys? Like what was it last night? Or the night before when Cornflake fought fucking Jamel Charlo there, right? I was telling you guys, if you guys follow me, you guys hit that like button for me, guys. Can we hit that like button? Dry Turkey, what's up? Yo, brother, uh, do I tell you to dial back your expression about your fighters? Right? But whenever I talk about a fighter that's not your fighter, then you would try to diminish that by saying glazing. But is it all right for anybody to talk up Floyd Mayweather? Is it all right for anybody to talk up Tank? Right? But for you, you would love to diminish what I talk about as try to say it like in a way that it would make me feel less than to talk about them. But when I see comments like that, it strengthens my belief in Naoya Inoue. If you had the time to text that to me, well then damn it, I'm on to something. I'm on to something. And until you guys beat him, then I like talking about a winner. Yeah, the best of the best. I remember there were thousands and hundreds of reporters and stuff that didn't like when people talked about Tom Brady. Look at Shannon Sharp. Huh? He would always say people were glazing Tom Brady. Boy, was he wrong. That dude is the shit. The Hall of Short, 7 championships, 10 Super Bowls appearances. Sorry, Shannon Sharp. You can't. You mad? You ain't never achieved no shit like that, and you like this, right? And here comes this skinny ass white dude with a prep hoodie wrapped around in a knot. Hey guys, shucks, pass me the ball. And he keeps beating all of you barbarians. They fucking hated Tom. They saw his combine footage, right? People hate the best. They don't like when you talk about the best. They're going to come in, they're going to say this, that. It fucking kills them that their guy is not him. It kills them that their guy can't hold Naoya Inoue's jockstrap. Get it out, you're not worthy. Like, they can't even stand next to him in accomplishments, divisions, knockouts, wins, championship belts. No category. None. And I bet that fucking burns inside the truth. All they can say is, my guy is better. Damn it. Cause I said so. Not because it's true, just because he said so. You know what I mean? And I get it. I get it. I'm fucking pissed that he's just not Puerto Rican, bro. Naoya Inoue. I wish he was Puerto Rican, bro. I bet I wish he was. Man. Yo, I would be talking hella shit. Yeah. You guys couldn't stop me, man. You guys would not be able to stop me. Hold on a second. Let me see if this is my daughter's school calling for any reason. Oh, my family's coming over. So, yo, salutations to my man. Tank ain't hit nobody with no left check hook. Yo, I said the same thing. I was like, the dude up there said that he was going somebody was telling him he's gonna hit Tank and Tank's gonna hit Naoya. It was all the way up at the top. Maybe the messages went down. You might not have seen it, angry white guy. But I was answering somebody's question like, Tank ain't never knocked nobody out with no left check hook. And I broke down all like his fights, his knockouts, and I already went through all that. But anyway, maybe I'm late to the party. You heard me. You said it. I don't read messages. I'll read them late, redo it again and shit. But listen, fight fans, my family just called me. They on their way over here right now. I'm about to go greet them outside and stuff. And definitely talk to the family. Listen, guys, do me a favor. I need you guys to really hit these like buttons for me, whether we agree or not. Don't we make things interesting? Huh? We have a discussion, we talk, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. I still value what you have to say. I still allow it to go up on the show because I don't shy away from anything. I could be that dude that they got a monitor, they always taking down all these. I'll tell you, have my guys take down crazy shit. But sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I'll allow it because you can't be fake. Not everybody's going to agree with what I'm saying. And I expect that. I expect that. So fight fans, listen, give these videos a like, help me support this channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and click those bell notification icons in your phone. I repeat, YouTube has a two-system notification. You can click it in your phone the first time to accept. You have to go into the other settings in the phone to click notifications. Then you will receive them. So, fight fans, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Sorry I have to cut the live stream short, but then I should be going on later on tonight then. Peace.